शर्म आ रही है अर्नव?
क्या हुआ? What happened? Why are you getting so agitated?
For the last 15 minutes that we've been in this car, Arnav has been giving me a BT because of multiple reasons which I will get into.
No, which are important.
I will get into
which are
those
most
reasons,
important.
but we'll get into them. But he's been giving a BT because he thought that
No,
he had booked.
that's such a wrong interpretation. You were late for a meeting. You got us late for a meeting.
Oh my!
Not just by 5 minutes, but like
You
15
want me to watch
minutes.
dirty laundry in public? Which is the fact that if this meeting was at 10 and we have a commute which is 1 hour long.
I put the clothes for laundry today, so
I
you have
don't
no.
give a shit.
You have no dirty laundry
got
authority.
Ready at 8:58 a.m. 2 minutes before apparently we had to leave, and then Arnav started losing it that we are late and you are not ready.
Because
like, you are the one who went in late
I was
and
the
took
one
a lot of
doing
time.
household chores
Shut up, please.
today. Yes.
No.
Yes.
No. No. You cannot suddenly then wake up after that oh, I am late, so now I must project it now onto this other person. And he's been giving me a BT for this entire 20 minutes that we've been in the car. But being late, and now I have to apologize and you don't care. And I'm like, you were the one who was late. How is this my fault? And
How was I late? Arey?
What do you mean, how were you late?
I got ready in time, ready to.
Yeah, but you basically just forgot about the fact that there's another person who also has to get ready.
The other person has to figure out her own schedule. I can't. Hello, beta.
So I can
no,
just
hello.
block the resources.
Potty करो.
ये पागल है क्या? क्या बोल रहा है? मैं edit नहीं करूँगी. Anyway, it turned out that the meeting was not even there today. Tomorrow, and he's just been giving me a BT for no reason.
ये Pulsia is the one who's stopping it. He's stopping this traffic. He's letting those guys go. Why is he letting the Dholakwa traffic go? What nonsense! Let the South Delhi traffic go, bro. He's letting the Central Delhi and West Delhi traffic go. He's not giving any attention to South Delhi traffic.
That's why we should move to Gurgaon, so that we don't have to face this discrimination, Arnav.
Or you can move to Central Delhi or West Delhi.
No, thank you.
But good use of your time.
Of what?
Good use of your time.
Doing what?
Telling you that you need to improve your behavior early in the morning.
I don't know how you made this into my problem. It's amazing that you have twisted this into. This is Garba's fault.
Whose fault is it? Whose fault?
Why does it have to be a? Abhi, I have to prosecute somebody. Both of us were late.
No.
You know this. Yes.
Who was more to be blamed?
तो तू अकेले ले लेना मीटिंग, फिर तू जाके कर ले. हद हो गई है.
But what do you accept about me being right? What
I don't. That's what I accept, that you're not right. Because for you, right means that I am not in the wrong. The other person is to be blamed.
Anyway, that was a fun story. It was quite funny.
This is how founder downfall happens, Arnav.
But when you found out
This
that
is why
the meeting is tomorrow.
It's bad system design to be married to your co-founder. This is what people talk about.
But when you found
What if
out.
we're watching this 10 years later and then we say this was the beginning of the signs
Of
the crack? No, that's not what I meant. So what if this is how it begins? The downfall.
This guy is the one stopping our traffic. Nonsense. He's not realizing how much.
Just ignoring the topic. Is that how you deal with it?
When you blabber, I blabber. Both. Because blabbering.
Let's talk about, Arnav, this question that we seem to be asked a lot. Which is, how do you guys balance life and work? If you're working also together and then you're married also and then you live in the same house also and then Arnav is irritating also. Like, how does it work?
ये कौन पूछता है?
बहुत सारे पूछते हैं. How do you manage, Arnav?
How do I manage that I am irritating?
Yeah. How you manage?
I think your question has a fundamental flaw in it.
Okay, please change the question then. But you understood the topic.
Except the last bit.
अच्छा चल बोलना यार.
Well, how do you manage when honestly you're on a mission?
On a war. We're always at war, Raghavan.
When
क्या
you're-
था वो dialogue?
क्या?
मुझे पता भी नहीं है यार, waste. मैं हूं ना का dialogue था एक. We've been at war since 1947.
You saw the steeplechase?
Sorry?
Avinash Sable.
Can we talk about what we're talking about?
What a race. Seriously, what a race. Okay, sorry. So today's topic is how to coexist with your
When you're
life
working.
partner at
With-
your workplace.
How do you do it, Arnav? How do you do it? What are your top 3 tips?
So very simple, very very basic. हंस क्यों रही है? जोक थोड़ा ना मार रहा हूँ.
I'm just waiting for your pearls of wisdom.
There will be words.
हाँ सुना.
So first clear thing I do
Yeah, tell me.
is I sit in a completely different floor than her for the entire day. Since then we've seen things improving, efficiency improving, productivity improving.
What nonsense.
Number 1. Number 2.
But when you say different floors, you basically means that we have our roles very, very well defined.
Love the
course.
positive spin on it.
अरे of course,
Yeah, it's
different
true.
floors.
Yeah,
तो
yeah.
ये थोड़ी है कि टीम बढ़ गई है बीच में ऊपर.
Yeah, no, the ops team is ऊपर
हाँ.
and the marketing and tech team, marketing product tech is नीचे. So
Very well defined boundary lines in terms of ये मेरा है, ये तेरा है, और फिर जो बीच में intersection होती है उसमें हम लड़ते हैं फिर. Which is also required. It's
Yeah.
healthy. It's healthy fighting, you know, healthy
which
communication.
is fundraising and finance, legal, and human HR.
So then that's your pearl of wisdom.
Yeah, just
First
one,
pearl of
one,
wisdom.
one key tip. To
The other 2, you said 3 things. Simple
you
things.
asked for 3. Acha. So what else? No, if we like now we're not joking, right? Now we're being serious. Like what
think so.
actually works. So what actually works is okay. Let's start thinking. I think one being fundamentally at the deep down at the values level being aligned in your life, in your professional, or what you want from your lives. That, and of course you never know what exactly you want, but broadly अगर आपका thinking and values are aligned, I think that is probably the most important thing. We've discussed this earlier and I think that is probably the only thing keeping us.
What a guy. What a guy.
Just some light-hearted,
What a guy.
some light-hearted twists and turns, you know, to make a story weave into fun and truth and
Wow,
facts.
wow,
But yeah, I think that is probably the key.
wow. Okay, second
And
pearl of wisdom. Thank
Even
you.
if you're different in those values, but मतलब accepting and deeply, genuinely accepting the other person's values and thinking that. But हमारा, I think we are lucky that way because this really feels really cool.
It does. Sorry, my camera switched off. So now we have camera
is
तो क्या
amazing.
मतलब my phone switched off.
Yeah,
Now
this
we
is what it
shift to
shows. Do you see it?
Arnav's phone. Anyway, Arnav, you want to complete your point, dear friend?
Yeah, so we were talking about what 3 things that you should do if
Summarize
you
मत कर, तू 2 बार कर चुका है summarize. First वाली थी कि clear boundaries in terms of roles. Second you said was having values aligned at the core
and I think clear boundaries
and accepting what motivates the other person, all of that, and being like good with it. And third thing you said was enjoying each other's company.
yeah.
Wonderful. Great pearls of wisdom, Arnav. Thank you so much for sharing your gyan.
But may I say something? The
Please
first
do.
point, what was how did you summarize the first point? Because I wanted to add to that. It wasn't just having clear boundaries defined in your workspace or your home space.
Go on then.
It was also having enough points of intersection and different areas where you are your boss, you are your whatever, at home, at work, at whatever, everything. So that those are very important.
So let me ask the hard questions, Arnav. Who's the boss at work?
A hard question or what? Like, who's the boss? If you honestly ask me, I think everyone.
Everyone is the boss. Hi.
It's true, but At such an early stage, everyone in their roles is the boss.
हाँ मतलब you mean that there's no hierarchy or anything? I get
There
that.
is a little bit of hierarchy. I think
Yeah,
no
of
hierarchy
course.
is not true, but
Of course.
there is hierarchy to a little bit, some extent.
Obviously, bro, I'm the boss. You should just accept it.
Boss in what sense? The designation, yeah, CEO is your designation. That is all yours. I have given it to you.
Oh, दी है आपने. बड़ी मेहरबानी.
I have
बड़ी
granted-
मेहरबानी हो आपकी. Wow, thank you, sir.
But you are the CEO, like in terms of
Thank
designation.
you.
If
Thank you. That's me.
And you are the co-founder who ran the business
Thank you.
full time before.
Thank you. My blood and sweat and tears.
Yeah. It's not easy having
Yeah,
no
it's not
salary,
easy.
living off your parents and your boyfriend's salary. It's not easy, bro.
It's not. मतलब it is वैसे मतलब obviously it comes from a place of privilege only. मतलब I'm lucky to have that safety net. Thanks Arnav. So
your
sweet
parents.
of you. And my parents. I like to thank my parents. वो तो obviously goes without saying, but anyway, I mean, I think the point you were trying to make was that right now we're at a stage where we are able to kind of do stuff almost parallelly, where things are kind of small enough that we are able to manage without having a lot of I have to pull rank, etc., etc. It is what it is, but when it comes down to it, it me. Thanks. And who's the boss at home, Arnav? Is that you? Or is it me? I think it's Sriracha.
Dumb. Really dumb. What is the boss at home? Please explain. Like who runs the decision?
ऐसे ही पूछते हैं ना लोग सवाल. होम मिनिस्टर हैं, घर पे आए हैं, हमारी डिफेंस एंड होम एंड whatever bullshit things that people say on WhatsApp groups.
So I would say वहाँ भी clearly defined roles हैं.
Exactly. That's the way to do it.
All the boring stuff I get.
Okay. Sure. I think every chore is boring. Let me be clear. मेरे को तो जनरली लगता है लेकिन कि ये जो क्वेश्चन होता है कि बैलेंस और तुम हाउ डू यू वर्क विद योर पार्टनर ये वो आई थिंक दोज क्वेश्चंस कम फ्रॉम मतलब फर्स्ट यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट दैट रिलेशनशिप इज लाइक ऑल्सो लाइक आई पर्सनली डोंट थिंक दैट आवर marriage and our personal relationship is traditional in the sense that there is a man and there is a woman and the man has a role and a woman has a role and you have to perform those stereotypical roles that each gender has in the house and therefore because you are like that it cannot then flow into work because it will have an impact. Or I mean the other thing is that people also think that
But as it's with many people these days, I think
absolutely
it's not like
absolutely I'm not
very-
saying we are unique and we are
and
special
we
for
are
doing it that way.
trendsetters,
No, that's not what I meant.
pioneers,
That's not what I meant.
evangelists of the concept. We're not.
Thank you for elaborating. But my point was that I think if you approach your personal relationship and your work relationship in a similar way, actually there are a lot of benefits of working with somebody who you have that kind of a mental connection with, that a lot of things that I am feeling or understanding we invariably are on the same page with, because obviously there will be differences and there will be nuances and all of that, but it just helps because ultimately for any two people to be working together you have to work on that bond as well. It is not कि मतलब हाँ हम साथ में business कर रहे हैं, you have to constantly be working on that co-founder वाला bond also.
Yeah, and very practical things like if you're so used to fighting and mending fights
Yeah.
in your personal life that even at work when that happens you're not like, oh, everything's broken.
Correct.
Like you know what the limits are at.
Yeah. And you've also been through situation, and so again this was one of those things that I think I was listening to a podcast or something.
That is the new name because I have to tolerate a lot of fad and
Shut
stuff.
up.
I was talking about sriracha, but sure, you said guilty. God.
I thought you were talking about me talking Arnav.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway. But basically what I'm trying to say is that वो podcast में वो क्या बात कर रहे थे कि for a co-founder relationship to last over a long period of time it's not just enough that, you know, when things are good, obviously then everybody gets along, all of that. But you have to know how to approach conflict and get through that period of conflict without it harming that relationship. And I mean, there was some statistic, I'm forgetting exactly kya hai, but a lot of startups fail because the early team fails or co-founder relationships don't work out or whatever. So that bond is actually really, really important. I just feel that, I don't know, it's usually looked at as, oh, this cannot work because you've got a conflict of interest or whatever.
But I don't think everyone thinks like that, but
Everybody
people ask that question.
It's
But also,
a thing, right? You think about it.
but I think people also ask that question because they don't go into the history of how long you've known each other, how long you've dated, how long you.
No, but so on the contrary, I also feel that it's coming from a good place. That question basically comes from, you don't, I mean, the assumption is you wouldn't want to harm your personal relationship, which is why when it flows into a business relationship, you might cut corners or you may not have the difficult conversations because you don't want to harm the personal relationship. I think that's where it comes from. It's not so much कि मतलब तुम कर नहीं पाओगे और ये नहीं कर पाओगे. It's more कि you will prioritize your personal relationship over what the business requires. I think that's where it comes from, which is fair, I guess. But I personally feel that in any case, if you're doing a business with anybody else, right, it comes down to the co-founders having a great relationship in terms of communication, in terms of trust, in terms of being equally committed to what they are setting out to do. मतलब I know enough co-founders, early stage startups के जो भी हैं, who decide कि we want to move into the same flat because it is just so much easier to get to know each other, to do work, all of that. मतलब you take steps to become closer as people so that you can run the business in the right way. तो पहले से कर रहे हैं. I mean, so I don't know. I think there are pros and cons, and everybody probably handles it in a different way. But I personally feel that balance is kind of an illusion also. Like you can't have a very big divide between work and there's so many times when we're watching TV at home 11:30 in the night or whatever, and then suddenly something will happen and it reminds us of work and we start talking about that. So it's going to be a thing because that is what you signed up for in terms of the fact that you're doing a startup and you want to kind of see it through.
So all in all, what are you trying to say?
What I'm trying to say is that honestly it doesn't feel that difficult. Maybe it's also because we're very new to it. I don't know.
I know.
Maybe time will
we
be.
also haven't gone. we've gone through. I won't say tough. ऐसा कुछ पता नहीं. Actually, I think it's that tough times वाला phrase also how you perceive.
हाँ मतलब पता लगेगा. अभी तक तो सही है सब. It's all good.
नहीं मतलब like tough time could also be उससे पहले जब एक साल without salary working, busting your ass off trying to make it work.
Yeah, there are a lot of low periods for sure. That definitely. मतलब there were periods of time where I was constantly questioning myself in terms of what am I doing? Is this even worth it? You know, and personally for me it was a big deal to be taking parents' money and your money, all of that. Like it was something that I had to go through and fathom.
और money.
तब R नहीं था ना.
क्यों शादी से linked होता है R?
Sure. But I mean, I think it's just one of those things you have to. I don't think you can do these things by design always. I personally believe that
what by design?
When you're doing a startup which is driven by a certain passion that the co-founders have, it is not. I think it's very difficult to bring in co-founder level people. Yeah,
I can't imagine like
without having a personal relationship or something that binds you together. I think hiring for that position is very difficult, and that's what everybody talks about as well, right? That you can't hire a technical co-founder and you can't hire for a.
So I think when people doubt it, they're only probably doubting it in that. So it's better than being having a co-founder you've not known at all, and suddenly you do a meetup and you find them. But in the thing of knowing another person for long, in that bracket, it's probably the least preferred one. That's what people.
Yeah, possible. नहीं वो तो ठीक है. मैं तो अपना explain कर रही हूँ. Questions तो चलो सबका अपना होता है. Perception of whatever it is. But I mean that I personally feel that I would find it very difficult to have the kind of conversation and the kind of fights that we've had. I mean, even in front of like people in office, like it always feels like मम्मी पापा लड़ रहे हैं उस सिचुएशन में. I mean, the thing is that वो इतनी वो कंडीशनिंग हो गई है ना मेरे दिमाग में, वो थॉट आ ही जाता है कभी कभी कि अब ऐसा तो नहीं लगेगा बच्चों को कि डाइवोर्स हो रहा है.
बच्चों को यार man you're thinking बच्चों को.
Then I have to, you know what I mean यार, वो ऐसे दिमाग में आ जाता है गंदा थॉट and then I have to be like yup,
that's a very
please
bad
remove
thought.
this.
I hope you edit this part because the world should not know this.
Why? It's the reality.
That you're-
बेमतलब की बातें. No, so I have to tell myself ना, shut the fuck up. This is not what the situation is. Everybody has random thoughts. That doesn't mean that that's what it is. Anyway, but yeah, I think so far
Sadhu,
so
the
good.
baby has some opinion as well.
No, she's sleeping very soundly.
She's used to all the fighting now.
Yeah, she is
And
an
all the happy
extension.
days.
Correct. That's it then.
But what did we lead to? What can you
बस
conclude?
प्लीज खत्म कर, बहुत लंबे एपिसोड कर रहे हैं आज ना, तो इतना नहीं करना.
ठीक है बट अगली बार succinct points बोलेंगे.
ओके, बाय बोलेंगे.
बाय टाटा सी यू. कल मिलते हैं, अगले हफ्ते मिलते हैं. Oh, next week we'll be taking you on a road trip and to some beautiful parts of the country where you will discover two janwars with a human in nature. So enjoy and wait for that because we will be recording because it's a 9-hour long journey and we will be bored of each other.
Woo!
And we would have had our board meeting. Both for the home and for school.
Wonderful. What's up?
Alright, that's us signing off. And see you in 2 days. Bye bye.
We
Take
shut it.
care. Shabak khair. Oh, I have to shut it. कैसे करें?
End it.